Doing good is more than avoiding wrong. Wrongdoing comes not only from what you do, but also from what you fail to do. It's common to hear people say, "I didn't do anything wrong." And while that might be true, it often misses the point. Not doing harm is important, but it's not the whole picture. Being a good person isn't just about not making mistakes or avoiding doing bad things. True goodness, the kind that improves the world, comes from taking action, doing what's right when it matters most. In life, we're constantly presented with opportunities to either stand by and do nothing or to step up and make a difference. And these choices, both large and small, define us more than we might realize. You can avoid lying, stealing, or cheating, but if you stand by while someone else suffers or remain silent in the face of injustice, you are still part of the problem. Consider the example of bullying. If you don't participate in bullying, that's great, but is it enough? If you stand silently, watching someone else be bullied, your inaction becomes a form of complicity. You might not have actively caused harm, but by doing nothing, you allow the harm to continue. In that moment, you have a choice. You can intervene, stand up for what's right, or you can remain a bystander and let the bullying persist. This is what the Stoics mean when they say that injustice comes not only from the wrong things we do, but also from what we fail to do. Avoiding bad behavior is important, but equally important is the courage to act when action is needed. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. This quote, often attributed to Edmund Burke, highlights a crucial truth. Passivity in the face of wrongdoing allows that wrongdoing to flourish. Evil doesn't need people to actively contribute. It just needs them to stand aside and let it happen. Think of times when you've seen someone being rude or disrespectful in public. Maybe it's a person yelling at a cashier or someone behaving obnoxiously on public transportation. What happens in those moments? Usually, people around the situation grow uncomfortable, but they do nothing. They remain silent, hoping the problem will resolve itself. They expect someone else to step in, someone more confident, braver, more suited to the task of confronting the situation. But sometimes that hero never arrives. The bad behavior continues, and everyone suffers in silence. The evening is ruined, the public space feels hostile, and everyone leaves feeling worse for the experience. This is what happens when people choose inaction over courage. But what about when someone does speak up? Have you ever been in a situation where one person, let's call them the hero, steps in? They calmly but firmly tell the rude person to stop, or they stand up for the person being mistreated. Suddenly, the entire dynamic shifts. The tension is broken, and the rude person either backs down or is forced to confront their behavior. The hero didn't have superpowers, they just had the courage to act. The interesting thing is that anyone could have been that hero. You could have been that person. The difference is that most people in those moments are too afraid to act. They fear making things worse, or they worry about drawing attention to themselves. But courage doesn't require the absence of fear. It requires action in the presence of fear. Small acts of courage lead to bigger acts of goodness. Let's start small. Maybe you don't need to confront someone in a heated argument right away, but there are daily opportunities where small acts of courage can make a big difference. Speak up when someone cuts in line, when a coworker makes a hurtful joke, or when someone's behavior is making others uncomfortable. These situations don't require heroics, they just require a bit of courage. The key here is to recognize that every time we choose to act, we build our capacity for doing good. Courage is like a muscle. The more we use it, the stronger it becomes. And the more we use our courage in small situations, the more prepared we'll be for the bigger, more challenging moments that life throws at us. I had an experience like this once. I was sitting in a sauna, and another man kept leaving the door open, ruining the whole sauna experience for everyone. For 2 long minutes, I sat there, stewing in silent frustration. I was angry at him, angry at myself for not saying anything, and growing more irritated by the second. Then I finally asked him to close the door. It was a simple request, and he complied without hesitation. All that inner struggle, all that tension, was completely unnecessary. Next time, I won't wait 2 minutes. I'll speak up right away, politely but firmly. I'll ask people to take turns, to lower their voices, or to fix a small behavior that's disrupting others. These aren't big confrontations, but they're opportunities to practice courage. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius offers a helpful perspective here. He reminds us to use reason when facing these situations. Do you get angry when someone smells bad or has bad breath? What's the point? It's their body. It will naturally have odors. Do you expect them to be aware that they are offending others? If you are aware of it, then congratulations. Now use your reason to address the issue. He encourages us to take action in a rational, calm manner. Rather than stewing in frustration or anger, we can simply address the situation directly. And by doing so, we help both ourselves and the person involved. The key is to act with compassion, not with a sense of superiority or judgment. Don't just avoid wrong, pursue the good. It's not enough to simply refrain from doing harm. We must also actively pursue what's good. This is the true essence of living a virtuous life. It's about making the world a better place through our actions, not just avoiding making it worse. In the same way that doing nothing can enable evil, choosing not to act can allow harm to continue unchecked. If you see someone being mistreated and you don't intervene, you're allowing that mistreatment to continue. If you witness an injustice and remain silent, you're complicit in that injustice. This is a hard truth for many of us to face. It's easier to believe that simply avoiding bad behavior is enough. But being good isn't passive, it's active. It requires us to step forward, to speak up, and to take responsibility for the world around us. Remember the times you've seen someone being rude or disruptive in public. Maybe it was someone being cruel to a server at a restaurant, or someone acting obnoxiously on the bus. Did anyone step in to stop them? Did anyone say, "That's not okay"? Most of the time, the answer is no. Most people remain silent, either out of fear or discomfort. But silence, in these moments, allows the bad behavior to continue. But what happens when someone does speak up? When a single person has the courage to say, "That's enough," the entire dynamic changes. The rude person is forced to confront their behavior, and everyone else breathes a sigh of relief. It only takes one person to make a difference, and that person could be you. Stoic courage in everyday life. So what can you do? How can you live out this Stoic principle of doing good rather than just avoiding harm? It starts with small actions. Speak up when you see someone being mistreated. Stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves. Don't let rude or disruptive behavior go unchecked. You don't need to be confrontational, but you do need to be courageous. It might feel uncomfortable at first. You might worry about how people will react or whether you're overstepping. But remember, Stoicism teaches us to focus on what's within our control. You can't control how others will respond, but you can control your own actions. And by choosing to act with courage and kindness, you are contributing to the greater good. In the grand scheme of things, these small actions add up. Each time you choose to do good, you strengthen your character. Each time you stand up for what's right, you make the world a little better. And over time, these small actions create a ripple effect, inspiring others to do the same. The Stoics didn't just avoid doing wrong, they actively pursued goodness. They understood that living a virtuous life means more than just refraining from bad behavior. It means seeking out opportunities to do good, to help others, and to make the world a better place. So the next time you're faced with a situation where someone is behaving poorly, ask yourself, what can I do to make this better? Whether it's speaking up, stepping in, or simply offering kindness, your actions have the power to make a difference. And by choosing to act, you're not just avoiding wrongdoing, you're actively pursuing the good. Let me know if you'd like even more details, examples, or a different direction.